right, welcome everybody. We're here for another great session, free summer seminar, webinar series. Man, we've got so much we've been covering and still so much left to get to. We've got a really fun one today that I know many of you, of course, are catching us live on the webinar. Many of you are going to be listening to this on the podcast, or perhaps you're catching this on YouTube. Regardless, whether you're watching it live or listening to it later, we're so glad you're here. And speaking of being here, when you're chatting with us today, down in the chat, make sure you change your messaging when you go to message us. Change it to everyone, so that way everyone can see, not just hosts and panelists. Of course, if there's anything you wanted to send with us directly, share with us directly, you can do that, but it defaults to hosts and panelists, so make sure you're changing it to everyone. And let's start with, as we're talking, I want to see where everyone's joining us from. So give us your city, your state, your province. Where are you joining us from this afternoon or this morning, depending on where you're located? And if this is your first time on a Glover U webinar, I want to see my first timers. Where are all my first timers? All right, good to see everyone. Phoenix waking up early this morning with us. Thank you for being here. All right, Georgia, a lot of Georgia in the house. All right, welcome. Awesome, awesome. All over the U.S. and some Canada in there too. Awesome, Augusta, beautiful place. All right, well, thank you guys for letting us know. We love seeing where everyone's coming from. We've got a special one today because we're going to get into specifically the hidden gold mine, seller leads, specific sources that we might be overlooking. And, depending on what's happening in the market and in the industry, this fluctuates because, a softer market brings different opportunities, a hotter market brings different opportunities. And so I'm excited to dig into today's topic. But before we do, real quick, for those that are not familiar, my name is Jeff Glover from Detroit, Michigan. Been listing and selling real estate now, if you can believe this May I entered into my 24th, that's right, 24th year selling real estate. 23 of those years, or 22 and a half of those years, have been in leadership, coaching, and development. And so if you're a first timer to Glover U, which I saw a handful of first timers, why you're here, why you should pay attention to us, especially us two. We're in the trenches with you. We know exactly what you're going through. Just to give you an idea, in the last decade, I have personally averaged over 100 transactions a year myself personally. Doesn't even include what our team of about 32 full-time agents does, which is close to 1,000 units annually. And that's no different. You're going to hear some solid numbers from Justin as well, as he was just on our stage at the retreat, specifically for the production that he has had so far this year, using the exact techniques that we're going to cover in today's session. So it's like win-win all around. All right, so before we get into the session, though, I want to make sure there's a couple free resources that if you're new to Glover U, you need to be taking advantage of them. All right, the first one is the daily message. All right, so if you're not familiar with the daily messages, every day, every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, every Friday, 5 days a week, I write a message specifically designed to help you list and sell more real estate. By the way, if you're wondering where's today's, it's coming out this afternoon. Every day I write a message helping you list and sell more homes. Sometimes it's I went on an appointment last night and here's an objection the seller gave me and how I handled it. Other times it's, here's what we're changing in our business plan for the second half of this year. Anyways, take advantage of it because it's free. All right. So if you do not currently subscribe to the daily message, here's how you get your hands on it. Take out your cell phones and open up your text message. You're going to text the word morning to 55444. Text the word morning to 55444. Within 30 seconds, I'm going to ask you your first name, your last name, your email, just like that. Fill that out. You're signed up. There it is. Yep, morning to 55444. That's how you get the daily message. I think we have close to 30,000 real estate professionals subscribe to that. So take advantage of that. All right. That's resource number one. Resource number two, if you don't already have it, go get your hands on the Glover U app. I won't spend a lot of time telling you about it, but here's what I will tell you. We probably give away more things for free in the app than you ever have to pay for with us. So take advantage of all of our free resources, all of our scripts, everything you need to run your real estate businesses on the Glover U app. So take advantage of that. Just search Glover U in your app store. It'll come right up. And for those of you with Androids, as you know, it was being rebuilt for the last month. It's back up. Okay. And then last but certainly not least, because of the time of year especially, we're operating from a new plan, the second half plan. We released this plan at the retreat 2 weeks ago up in Traverse City, Michigan. And I know our agents are operating from it. I know I'm operating from it. Hopefully you have your hands on it. If you do not, write this down. It's gloveru.com gloveru.com/halftime. Go get it later or go get it now, but gloveru.com/halftime. That is the exact plan that I'm using in my business for the second half of this year. We released it at the retreat, and you have an opportunity to operate from the exact same plan that I'm operating from. So take advantage of that. Okay, so now that we got some of the housekeeping stuff out of the way, I want to get to our topic because I know Justin's got a lot to share. For those that are not familiar with Justin, Justin actually started as an agent at what was then called Jeff Glover and Associates, our real estate team. He did so well on the phones and generating business. By the way, becoming rookie of the year and selling, oh, I don't know, about 100 homes his first year with us, that I put him in charge of leading our inside sales team. And so he was responsible for teaching people the skill of generating business. That's one probably the toughest skill in the entire industry. You know, anyone can figure out how to negotiate a home inspection. Anyone can show a house. Anyone can open a lockbox, but not everyone has the skill of generating business on demand. And so he had that, and he accomplished that as a salesperson, but also I then put him in charge of teaching others to do it. And so after he was done in that role, he went on to lead his own team and lead his own brokerage, as many successful agents do when they reach a point that they want to flex that muscle. And still to this day, he's listing and selling real estate at a high level. In fact, if you were to ask Justin what he does for a living, he would respond with, "I list and sell real estate." That's his number one gig. And his secondary to that would be, "I also lead, coach, and train others to do the same." And so today is no different because as a Glover U coach and a high producer, Justin is going to share with us the 5 seller lead sources that you might be overlooking. And I got a feeling he's going to give us a few tips on how to win with them. So Justin, why don't you take it away?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Super excited. And, when it comes to prospecting, a lot of times we hear that word and we ultimately think of what? Drop it in the chat. What do you ultimately think of when you hear the word prospecting? Okay. Prospecting. Like, I'm going to prospect today, right? Cold calling. Pretty much everybody's putting cold calling, spamming, making calls, because this is, I believe, what we've been told is prospecting is picking up the phones, when really prospecting is the first step in the sales process. And if you're a real estate agent here with us today and you're generating any type of business, you prospect, because prospecting is the first step in the sales process. And so I think one of the first things that we have to do is really shift and change our mindset around what prospecting really is, and understand that it is the lifeblood of our business in one way, shape, or form. And so today we're going to talk about the 5 seller lead sources that you might be overlooking. And I'm going to share these lead sources with you, not because I think they're fancy, not because I think they might be good for you. I'm going to share these 5 with you because this is what myself and my team, Jeff's team, are doing on a daily basis to generate seller opportunities. And the good news is, wherever you are in the market, somewhere in North America, there are listing opportunities in your market right now. And the only way people are really going to know about you, if they don't already have a relationship with you, is you're going to have to go out and get in front of them, and you're going to have to let them know why you are the choice of helping them sell their home. There's 2 groups of people. Jeff always taught me this. There's 2 groups of people that you know and people that you don't know. Which group is bigger? The group of people that are bigger are the people that don't know you. And what we found is, a lot of times real estate agents get into the business, they're excited, they're working social media, they're working their image and their brand, they're getting their name out there. And what we find is 9 out of 10 real estate agents in their first 2 years, and this is a National Association of Realtor statistic, 90% of real estate agents are out of the business in the first 24 months, and the average real estate agent only sells 4 homes a year. Well, I don't know about you. I have a family of 5, and there's no way that I could provide and take care of my family off of 4 transactions a year. And I understand that not everybody, does real estate full time. Many people do it part time or as a side hobby or gig. But for those of you that want to succeed at a high level in real estate, take a lot of listings, sell a lot of homes, and make a lot of money, then we're going to have to be proactive in going out and communicating with people on a daily basis about real estate. And that's all prospecting is having conversations with people that are looking to buy and or sell. Primarily today, we're going to be talking about seller lead sources. Although I know there's a lot of people here today that work with buyers, that's great. And you should continue to do that. However, I believe based on the shift that we're seeing in the market, we're starting to see more listing inventory. We're starting to see things sit a little bit longer. We're starting to see price reductions. What we know is more listing opportunities are going to be available for those that go out to get those listing opportunities. And so if you're here today and you are looking to take more listings, I want you to drop a 777 in the chat right now. I just want to make sure you showed up to the right webinar because we got other ones. I just want to make sure you're at the right one, which is to take more seller leads. Awesome. Great. Well, I don't want to go too much in depth on why I'm qualified to share today's webinar with you. Jeff did talk about that a little bit, but here's what I want to say to you. Coming into this spring, I was very focused on getting out there and taking more listings and getting in front of more sellers. And like Jeff said, I've had the opportunity over the last 10 plus years to really get skilled and good at communication, right? Communicating with people. And over the last 3 months, I've taken 50 personal listings, and I've done that through these 5 sources. So these 5 sources that I'm going to share with you today are sources that myself and my team, Jeff and his team, are actively working, that if you will go out and work these lead sources consistently, you're going to see your listing inventory increase. Now, I'm not pulling any secrets out of the hat because there is no secrets in real estate. You know that. But I'm going to share 5 lead sources with you that you may be overlooking, that we hear and find and know that real estate agents overlook. And if you're willing to do the work, plug into these 5 sources and work a plan around them, you're going to create new opportunities. And so the first one, and you may or may not be currently working this. So I know some people here, we've got almost 500 people here, are going to be working some of these lead sources already. Some of you may not. And so the first one are what we call online lead sources. So make sure you write this down. Online lead sources. Now, I know that there is some thoughts around online lead sources. You've got a lot of online lead sources that are out there. The first ones that typically come to mind are usually your Zillows, your Realtor.coms, some of these lead sources, but there are so many lead sources that as a real estate agent, you should be tapping into, okay? And many of them are what we call referral online lead sources. And you might be saying, well, Justin, why would I want to go out and get, sign up for lead sources that charge a referral fee and take, 30, 35%, whatever it is? My question back to you would be, I'm here in Detroit, Michigan. Let's say you're in, California, you're in Kansas City, you're in Illinois somewhere. And I reached out to you and I said, hey, I've got a listing referral for you, and I'm going to charge 30%. How many of you guys would take that referral? Every single one of us, right? Why? Because it's a referral that's being handed off to you. Well, guess what? What we found are more and more companies are generating online lead opportunities for real estate agents like you and like me in our local markets. And one thing that I would highly encourage that everybody do is go out and do your research on all of these different online lead sources. Yes, some of them are going to take referrals. Yes, some of them are going to maybe charge an upfront fee. Some of them may charge you a per lead fee. But here's the thing that when it comes to prospecting, and for those of you guys that don't know, I lead the prospecting boot camp here at Glover U. And one of the things that I teach in our boot camp and even to our agents is this. I want you to think of like a bullseye or a wheel with a bunch of spokes off of it with a big circle in the middle. What I like to look at from a prospecting standpoint or a building your business standpoint is to never build your business only off of one source. Now, you may start with one source like I did when I was on Jeff's team when I first started. I started with phone prospecting, expireds and for sale by owners. And I was able to build a very strong foundation by picking up the phone and making calls. But what we encourage you to do as real estate agents is have a well rounded business with many spokes off of that wheel, all leading into the middle, which are new opportunities. And one of those, again, would be online lead sources. So let me share a few of them with you. Number one is HomeLight. HomeLight is a great site that I think every one of you should go sign up for. Number two, you've got UpNest. UpNest is a great online lead source that you can go sign up for. Number three, Movoto, formerly known as Ojo, a great lead source that you can go sign up for. And there's many, many other ones. I'm not going to go through, excuse me, and list all of them, but there are 25, 30, 35 online lead sources that you can go sign up for as a real estate agent. Now, I do not recommend you build your business off of online lead sources, and here's why. Because let's just say you've built a big business and you primarily 90-95% of your business was let's just say Zillow or realtor.com or Trulia or any one of these online lead sources. What would your business look like if overnight that specific lead source was out of business? Well, you'd be out of business. And so you never want to put all of your eggs in one basket. You want to be able to build a well-rounded real estate business with many different sources of opportunities coming in. And so what I would encourage everyone to do is to go out and do your research and find what online lead sources I can sign up for, which ones require me to pay an upfront fee, which ones take a referral fee, which ones are, how much are the referral fees, and then go sign up for a handful of them. I do not recommend signing up for all of them at once because these online lead source websites, many of them look at they're basically scoring you or grading you on when you're calling them, how often you're following up with them, are you staying on top of them? So if you get inundated and flooded with all of these online leads and you're not staying on top of them, you're actually going to lose opportunities. So they grade you on your performance. And the better you do, the more leads you get. And you're competing with other agents in your market. Many of them, you're going to be competing against 2, 3, 4 people. And so it's not just about having great lead sources. It's being very skilled at how to convert, how to communicate, not just when you set the appointment, but also getting out in front of those online lead sources. And so one of the 5 seller lead sources that you might be overlooking are definitely online lead sources. I love it. Orlando just said, my number one is HomeLight. Perfect example, okay?
And by the way, if for those of you that, some markets, maybe not all of those services are available, an easy way to find which ones are being used in your market is just search sell my home in blank, sell my home in Sioux Falls, sell my home in Cleveland, sell my home in Orlando, sell my home in San Diego. That'll show you, there'll be the sponsored ads at the top of Google. You'll see who's buying those keywords, and that's what's popular and that's what's being used in your market.
Yep, absolutely. And don't sleep on these guys. There's opportunities for everybody. And you're going to have to work for them because you're going to be competing with the Jeff Glovers of your market, the Justin Fords of your market, who are already established, who already have a track record, who are already performing at a high level with those referral sites, but everybody has to start somewhere. So make sure that if you're going to do it, that every opportunity that you get, you do a phenomenal job. You're updating things and you're making sure that you're converting. Okay. So number 2, hybrid farming. Okay. Hybrid farming. For those of you guys that don't know what hybrid farming is, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong. This is actually something that you and your team actually created.
Yeah, we actually introduced this. I found the first video. I think it was like back in 2017 or 2018, back before we had professional studios and everything. And this is we took this. We essentially blended, all the things that we talk about as it relates to adding value to a database and circle prospecting, and said, well, wait a minute. What if we treated a neighborhood like it was our database, not just past clients and Sphere? And out came with that, we needed a name for it. So, because it's not really farming, but it's also not really circle prospecting. And out came hybrid farming. And I'm glad this made your list because it was never even one of our top five, and today it's now one of our top five sources of sellers.
Yep. And so for those of you guys that are maybe wondering, well, what is hybrid farming? So when you think of farming, farming is the person, let's say, that sends a postcard in the mail every couple of months and it just shows up in someone's mailbox. There's no relationship with the agent. The agent is just mailing into a specific area. Their goal is to create transactions and not relationships. Hybrid farming is where you're going into the neighborhood, like Jeff just said, and building relationships like you would with your database in the hopes that when someone goes to buy and or sell in that neighborhood, in this case, sell, that they think of you. When they know somebody that's looking to buy or sell, they think of you. And so the way that you want to look at it is this: you want to pick a neighborhood. And Jeff, the statistic for the turnover you want to look for is roughly, did you say 5%, 5 to 7%?
5%. Yeah. Yeah. If you find a neighborhood that's 4%, that's fine too. 5% turnover. And Justin, I just want to add one more thing to what you said there.
Sure.
Um, it's the outcome difference between hybrid farming and traditional farming is in traditional farming, you only get listings and sales from people in the neighborhood because that's kind of all they know you as. They you don't, as Justin said, you don't really have much of a relationship with them, but you have established some level of credibility through marketing. So you will get listings and sales through traditional farming from people that want, from people that live in the neighborhood. With hybrid farming, you get that, but you also get the referrals of the sphere of influence of all their family and all of their friends because of the relationship that's created. And that's the biggest difference between hybrid farming and traditional farming. But yeah,
Yeah.
5% is, you're looking for neighborhoods essentially with high turnover. Because the thought
And then,
process, Justin, is
yeah,
if you and I do the same things to a neighborhood, and I got a neighborhood that's 5% turnover, you're working a neighborhood that's 2.5% turnover, which by the way, the national average is somewhere between 2 and 3%.
yep,
Uh, I'm going to get double the result doing the exact same thing
yep,
because I got more at bats, I got more turnover in my neighborhood. So 5% is the rule. For every 100 households, there should be five sales annually.
yep. And Jeff, what would you say is the minimum amount of homes, or does it not matter as long as it's 5% that someone
No,
should look for?
yeah, you don't want to just work a neighborhood with 50 houses. You're going to put your eggs in a small basket. 250, somewhere around 250 is a sweet spot. I like a minimum of 150, but no more than 300. That's kind of the range because if you do the math on how much time you have in a day to prospect and lead follow up and add value, once you get over 300, you're now diminishing the amount of times you can touch these people. So I like the somewhere around 250 as a good sweet spot.
Yep, 2 to 250. And so what does that look like? So basically, when you look at a 12-month period of time, you're going to do some type of touch point with that community once per month. And rather than just sending a postcard in the mail, it also will involve maybe door knocking. It could involve making phone calls. It could be uh, doing social media targeting, geo targeting for that specific area. It also could be where you're holding events in the area. And Jeff, the one thing that I love about this strategy is how when when I look at Taylor Kerrigan, for instance, who is the CEO of Glover Agency, and she's been very involved, obviously, in Glover U, is I remember when she really kicked off this strategy for the neighborhood that she had a home
Mhm.
in. And what she did was, and guys, this is an example. You pick a neighborhood, like Jeff said, with 5% turnover, somewhere between 2 and 250. And what you do is one of the things that Taylor did was she created a Facebook group for this specific community that she lived in. Now, it does not have to be a community that you live in. It could be a community that you pick. She created a Facebook group and basically sent a postcard in the mail to, I think it was like, say, 250, 300 people in that community and invited them to the Facebook group. Now, the Facebook group was not real estate agent Taylor Kerrigan. It was, I think, Highland, Parks of Highland or whatever it was called. And
Yeah.
basically, through that Facebook group page, she was going to add value, let people know what was going on in the community, post different events, and also anytime a listing came up in the neighborhood, whether it was hers or not, it would just be shared in the group. Is that correct, Jeff?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, she built it organically by creating as yeah, it was just a mass mailing to the neighborhood. of a postcard inviting people to the group. It did not have any sort of real estate marketing on it at all. It did not have her name on it. It did not have her face on it. I mean, quite honestly, it could have looked like it came from the association.
Right.
And the group organically grew from, I think she probably had 40 or 50 people join out of the 300 that she mailed it to. And then from there, it kind of organically grew because people were posting, oh, this pet was in my backyard. Is anyone missing their dog? Or, this Friday we're doing the fish fry for the pool opening. People were starting to use it as a communication center, for her neighborhood.
Yep. And then what happened from that? So basically, she starts to become known because people start to see who's running this group. So they obviously, the admin or the creator,
Mhm.
Taylor
Yeah.
Kerrigan, they click on her page. She see she's a real estate agent, but
Yeah.
that's not just it though. Here's how she began to do it. So in the summer, she has done where she'll go into the pool area with a big cooler of popsicles and ice cream, and leave it there on a very busy hot day and just say, free ice cream, free popsicles, compliments of Taylor Kerrigan, Glover Agency Realtor.
Yeah.
Also in the neighborhood when they're doing garage sales or yard sales, where she will purchase yard sale signs for those that want to do the yard sale, and she will farm into the community and say, does anybody want a yard sale sign that plans on participating in the yard sale? And again, it would say yard sign or yard sale, compliments of Taylor Kerrigan, Glover Agency. She would do cornhole tournaments. She would do ice cream trucks. She would do taco trucks. And was it, Jeff, over a period of two years,
Yeah.
letting people know what's going on, staying in front of people, building relationships with people. If I'm not mistaken, I think Taylor has like almost a 50% market
Last
share.
year. Yep. So last year would have been her second full, not even full year, like I think 18 or 19 months of following our hybrid farming plan. Because actually, the backstory, Justin, is she decided she wanted to move over from operations to sales. And she said, what do I need to do? I said, well, you need to prove to our agents that you can be one of them. And she said, well, what do I need to do that? I said, well, you got to get your real estate license and start selling real estate. She's like, well, I don't like cold calling. Okay. I figured you probably weren't going to be someone who was going to prospect expires and FSBOs. And I said, why don't you try hybrid farming? I mean, we've been teaching it enough. We have examples. Let's see, I think that would fit your personality very well. And she did. And by the end of 2024, so by the end of last year, she had 49% of the sales in her neighborhood and only had been hybrid farming for 18 or 19 months.
Incredible. And the difference between just
And
sending
Justin, this
postcards.
wasn't like 49% of a neighborhood with like 10 sales. Like she literally had like 14 out of 30 sales in this neighborhood in her really first full year doing it. Yeah,
which,
by month 19.
which is incredible because it would never happen that way by just sending postcards for 2 years.
No. Mm-mm.
What Taylor did is she went into the community and began to build relationships with people, and people want to work with people that they know, like, and trust. And Taylor never went in looking for business, because that's not what hybrid farming is. I mean, the end goal is to create business.
Sure.
You're
Lead with
not
them.
going in and just asking people for business. You're going in and building relationships. And when people want to sell, or they know someone who's looking to sell, or they know someone that's looking to buy, because like Jeff said, the big difference between farming and hybrid farming is you're going to get referrals from people who show up to grab ice cream, who show up to the yard sale, who show up to the cornhole tournament, and start the conversation or get to know you as that person, to where they might refer their brother or their friend or their cousin to you, and they might not even be looking to buy or sell. Whereas if a postcard just shows up in the mailbox, they're probably not thinking of referring someone that they know, because they don't know you. And I love what someone just posted. She became a community business leader. She became the standout for the community. And that's really what hybrid farming is. And so when we think about 5 seller lead sources you might be overlooking, this is a big one, because if you're not familiar with Glover U yet, you haven't really, let's say this is your first time joining a webinar or being connected to us, you won't really hear about this hybrid farming model outside of Glover U. And so this is a big one. Jeff, is there anything else you wanted to touch on before I move on to the third one?
No, I think it's just when people think of hybrid farming, I want to make sure everyone understands it's very low budget. You don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. As Justin said, a cooler full of ice cream was probably less than $100. She also sponsors the food trucks. They do like food truck Fridays, the first Friday of every month in the summer. She doesn't pay a dime. She just organizes it and gets the word out about it. They still have to pay for whatever food they're getting from the food truck, but she gets the credit for organizing it.
Yep. Yep. So again, this is a big one, and I highly recommend for those of you that want to become that community leader or the one that's known in a specific neighborhood, your neighborhood, somebody else's neighborhood, something in the area. This is a great way to do it. And remember, the big
Yeah.
thing, the big differential thing here is you're building relationships. You're not. It's relationships versus transactions.
Yeah,
You're
I
you're
just want to say it does not have to be the neighborhood you live in. I know
right.
we use the example of Taylor, and it was the neighborhood that she lived in. It does not have to be. We have agents in Glover U coaching that are hybrid farming and hosting. We have agents in our system hosting pool opening and closing parties for neighborhoods they don't even live in. You do not. It does not have to be the neighborhood you live in.
Yep. Love that. Love that. Thank you, Jeff. All right. So that's two of the five seller lead sources you may be overlooking. Number three, and this one sounds like everybody should be doing it, Jeff, but we know because there was a time you didn't do this, there was a time I didn't do this, is your database, right? Really having a strong database plan. And you might be saying, well, is this really a lead source? Absolutely. Matter of fact, by implementing this lead source into my business over the last couple of years, this has actually become my number two lead source for my wife and I for sales this year because we have been effectively working our database. Now, I want to tell you what a database is because it's very easy to think a database is your CRM. That's not your database. I know those sometimes can be used interchangeably, but a database is where you house your past clients, your current clients, your sphere of influence, and what we also call your exchange database. These are people that you've either done business with, you're currently doing business with, or people who know you, like you, and trust you, or somebody that you've exchanged information with or communication with at some point. And the goal is to eventually convert them into, a client down the road. Now, we teach here at Glover U that there is a specific database plan that will allow you to convert at a high level. And the good thing is we're not just like, again, just saying, hey, this is a good idea. Jeff, if you just want to share real quick on what database was for Glover U in the past or Glover Agency when I was there in the past, and what it's become for you guys today by just making some tweaks to really
Yeah.
focus in on this.
Well, we never really took the database seriously, and we were very much prospecting based. We very much did a lot of marketing, and we weren't very serious about our database. So, we were closing 1,000 units, and less than 100 of those actually were coming from our database. And today, we're close to 500 units a year come from our database. And all we did was really three things. We added people. We consciously focused on adding people to our database daily. We consciously focused on adding value to them monthly. And then number three is doing both simultaneously. So we did those three things. Add someone daily, add value monthly. That's it. Add someone daily, add value monthly. And because of that, it's now our number one source of business over the last 5 years.
And I don't know if everybody heard what Jeff just said. He said 500 transactions per year come from the database. And it's not by just putting people into a database. Like Jeff said, it's coming from a place of value and contribution.
Mhm.
And we teach a very simple process here at Glover U, and I'm going to give that to you right now. And so if you have people that you've worked with in the past, you have people that you're currently working with now, or like Jeff said, adding somebody new to your database every day, we call that the exchange database, is now you want to stay top of mind so that when they're ready to buy or sell and or like hybrid farming, know somebody that's looking to buy or sell, they think of you, okay? They think of you. So we call it the 4x4x2x12. 4x4x2x12. And I want you to write this down if you have the ability to take notes. So the first four are what we call 4 phone calls per year. 4 phone calls per year. Now, many of you already are working your database. We're not telling you to change what's already working, but maybe you take something from this database plan and implement it. Maybe you don't have a database plan, great way to start. Or maybe you're looking to revamp yours. Take whatever we share with you out of this and see where it fits into your business. And so 4 phone calls a year. Jeff, I love, when I began to learn this because I didn't have a database plan for the longest time either. And by simply following this plan, we have generated more business this year from our database than we've ever generated before. And so the first one is a phone call in January. You're gonna make a phone call in January, and you're going to follow the script that we have called the I Have a Goal script. Now, I'm not going to go like layers deep into this. I'm just going to overview it, and obviously go to the Glover U Inner Circle. Some of you guys are already going to be in some of our coaching classes this next round. You'll get all of that. But I'm going to give you the plan, but then tell you how you can get some of the other stuff. So you're going to make a phone call in January. It's called I Have a Goal script. You're also going to send a letter in the mail. It's called the Year in Review letter, where you're sharing what you and your team was able to do the year before, what some of your goals are for the new year coming up. And then you're going to make a phone call around what we call springtime. And the reason why we say springtime is because you're also going to want to hold a client event, some type of client appreciation event in that time frame. The reason why we say spring, at least here in the Midwest, that's when everybody's thinking about potentially buying or selling, is in the spring, summer. So again, you want to be top of mind. So we're recommending a call sometime around March, April. We're recommending a client appreciation event sometime around there. We're also recommending you send a piece of mail to them during that time as an invite. Okay. So that's 2 calls so far. That's 2 pieces of mail because we sent the year in review letter in January. We're sending them a invitation in the mail around spring. The 4x4x2, one of the 2 is a client appreciation event in the spring. The next call is going to be at basically this time. I'm actually getting ready to do this week, Jeff, is what we call this year so far. You're going to reach back out to your client in July. You're going to give them a call, and you're going to let them know, hey, Jeff, I'm super excited to connect with you. Hopefully you're having a great summer. Just wanted to let you know that, hey, my goal when we spoke at the beginning of this year was to help 100 families. So far, we've been able to help 50 families. Who do you know that might be looking to buy or sell here in the second half of the year? Well, can't really think about anybody. Oh, no worries. Would you do me a favor and just keep me in mind if you or somebody you know is thinking about buying or selling in the second half of the year? Absolutely. Great. Talk to you soon, right? Nothing fancy. Then you're also going to send another letter in the mail. So you sent one in January. Now you're going to send one in July, and it's going to be this year so far of what you've been able to do also in the letter form. Then you're going to make another phone call. Jeff, I remember doing this on your team, and you still do it to date, is you take the week of Thanksgiving, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you are making phone calls and wishing your clients a happy Thanksgiving. Okay. You can also do another what we call client appreciation event that year or that month, which is maybe a pie giveaway. Many people do a pie giveaway. We like to do a fall fest, where we do a fall fest in the last week of October and invite all of our clients to a fall fest. But some type of client appreciation event. If you haven't done anything, start with one. If you've already been doing one, maybe season, we recommend adding 2. And then also the next phone call will be, the next piece of mail will be what we recommend is a holiday or a Christmas card. And Jeff, what's the date that you recommend that they receive that by or it goes out by?
Yeah, it's got to be by the 1st of December, because inside of that, we insert the tear off calendar, the Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday. And as you know, there's only one that's going to make it on that refrigerator, and it's the first one they receive. So December the 1st. And when our agents are making calls the week of Thanksgiving, that's also like the second thing they're doing to help pass the time. They're getting all their stuff, all their envelopes stuffed, all their mailings done, so that way it can show up by December the 1st.
And the reason why you want it to be December 1st is 2 reasons, right, Jeff? Number one is if you're putting a calendar in there, you want to be the first calendar that they receive because they're only going to put one on the fridge.
That's right.
And then number 2, you want to make sure that you're one of the first cards that they get so that you can be top of mind as they start to have conversations around the holidays
Yep,
regarding buying and selling real estate.
that's correct. There's no other time of the year during that 30-day span between Thanksgiving and January 1. I guess that's more like 40 or 45 days. There's no other time of the year where they're around more people than that time. And absolutely, I want to be top of mind. And so that's why we do that Thanksgiving call, and that's why we do the mailing by the 1st of December.
Yep. So that's four calls, 4 pieces of mail, 2 client appreciation events, and 12, we say either a newsletter that goes out every month or 12 infotaining emails. Jeff, what's the example of an infotaining email?
Well, first of all, if you look at infotaining, it's informational and it's entertaining. So it can't just be a boilerplate, something that your CRM made for you that reminds people to set their clocks back or something like that. It's got to be specific to the market. It's got to be informational. It's got to be entertaining. And so if you think of things like, obviously market stats are informational, but those can kind of get boring. So talk about new restaurants that are opening up, share new developments, be the resource for your community with those emails. Don't just use the boilerplate emails that your CRM automatically sends.
Like set your clocks back or set your clocks forward or happy Valentine's Day. You want it to stand out and be creative. And again, the purpose of all of these things is to be top of mind. So if you do not
Yeah.
have a database plan and you are not working your database, you're leaving deals on the table. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It became the #1 source that Jeff and his team are using. It's become #2 on what we're using, and it 100% works. Take it from 2 guys that used to not have a database. 4x4x2x12. The #4 source that you may be overlooking are what we are not just for sale by owners, Jeff, but for sale by owners that gave up at some point. Now, we highly recommend calling for sale by owners. You should be calling them. You should not be tiptoeing around. Well, hey, I got a buyer. Can I bring a buyer over? And you bring your cousin. No. Go right for it. If you're going to set an appointment with a for sale by owner, set the appointment so that when you go out there, they know why you're coming. But here's one for sale by owners that gave up. Okay. Many for sale by owners list and fail. Remember that only 2% of for sale by owners actually sell. 98% end up listing it with an agent. And other agents sometimes just give up or don't follow up calling for sale by owners. Well, some for sale by owners wanted to sell. They didn't want to list with an agent. They did have a reason for selling, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out. So they pulled their for sale by owner off of Zillow or wherever they had it. Now, these sellers many times are still motivated. They're just discouraged, and they don't really have a path forward. Maybe they were frustrated by a bunch of people calling or nobody really professional showing up. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go back through any for sale by owners from the last 3 to 12 months, and I want you to call them with empathy. And I want you to say, I saw your home was for sale earlier this year. Did you ever sell it, or are you still considering making a move if the right opportunity came up? See, most real estate agents don't follow up as it is, but we found, Jeff, what is it? Between 7 and 12 attempts. They say 7 to 12 attempts before you actually set an appointment. Is that correct?
Yep, that is correct.
Yep. So 7 to 12 appointments. So yes, we encourage you to call for sale by owners, but let's just say you're already doing that. One of the sources you might be overlooking is calling old for sale by owners. Most people do not teach calling old for sale by owners, whereas many of these people may be motivated but did not sell for whatever reason. Go follow back up with old for sale by owners. And again, I saw your home was for sale earlier this year, 3 months ago, 6 months ago. Did you ever sell it, or are you still considering making a move if the right opportunity came up? And these are going to be, I would say, they're going to be less confrontational because they're not getting bombarded by people every day. And you might be the one that is actually able to connect with them and get that listed. And then the #5 overlooked source that you may be overlooking are older expireds. Okay, we highly recommend calling expireds every single day, but we're saying a year and a half plus, a year to a year and a half plus. Okay, expireds aren't just the next day game. Thousands of listings expired during the last 2 years, and there are people that maybe weren't ready. 6 months ago, 12 months ago, a year and a half ago. Why? Because maybe they couldn't find a place to purchase. Well, we know that more listing inventory is coming on the market. We know that buyers are now getting deals on homes and they're not having to compete and, have 10 plus offers on houses. I know multiple offers are still a thing, but they're not the way that they were, let's say, a year ago or 2 years ago. And so what I'm highly recommending is that you go back. Yes, call your expireds, the new ones. Yes, call yesterday's. But I want to encourage you to start calling a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years ago. Yes, you're not going to get as many opportunities. But again, if let's say you had to call 100 or 200 to get one or two listings, is it worth it? Say yes, absolutely. Okay. And so these are 5 sources that we know that most real estate agents are overlooking. And so if this year you want a second half of the year, you want to take more listings. Okay, who wants to take more listings the second half of the year? Drop a 777. Okay. You want to take more listings. Okay. Then I highly encourage you to implement these 5 sources that you may be overlooking. Number 1, online lead sources. Go out today. Here's a tip. Okay. Jeff, ChatGPT has become a good friend of mine. I love ChatGPT. Matter of fact, I don't even use Google anymore. I use ChatGPT for all the information. You can go to ChatGPT and say, give me all the top online seller lead sources for real estate agents. And then what I want you to do is categorize the ones that have referral fees and what they are. Tell me which ones have a startup fee and tell me how to get started on all of them. And what's amazing is you can literally have that within 5 seconds and go start applying for those lead sources. Number 2 of the 5 seller lead sources you're overlooking, hybrid farming. Again, hybrid farming is a game changer. We talked about why you should do that and how you should do that. Number 3 is the database, following the 4x4x2x12 plan. Number 4 is for sale by owners that gave up. And then number 5, expired listings from a year to 2 years plus. And I promise you this is a promise. This isn't a maybe. This isn't a we'll see. I promise you that if you'll work these 5 sources and you'll do it consistently, not for a week, not for 2 weeks, not for a month, but if you commit to doing these sources minimum 90 days, you're going to see new seller opportunities and you're going to see new listings for your pipeline and for your business. Jeff, that's the 5 that I have for you today.
Yeah, I love that. And now, Justin, if I've been watching this for the last 45, 50 minutes or so since you started talking, I might be thinking, man, I would love to just have that guy as my coach. And at the end of the day, your coaching schedule is full. And so, therefore, the only way that somebody can coach with you is by joining you for prospecting boot camp. If I'm not
Yep.
mistaken, it's been our most popular, or at least top 2 popular
Oh, it's been the
coaching.
most popular.
Oh, okay, let's be clear on that. Most, okay. The most popular group coaching program that we have here at Glover U. And because of that, we have hundreds of success stories of people that have gone through and graduated from it. If I want to spend 16 weeks with you learning at a deeper level, I mean, obviously, I know you covered 5 today, but this is just scratching the surface. I
Yep.
have an opportunity to do so starting next week. So
Yep.
tell us a little bit about your prospecting bootcamp, Justin.
Yep. For those of you guys that really do want to take more listings and sell more homes, finishing the second half of the year and beyond, I've had the privilege to take over 1,000 real estate agents through this program. And this isn't a sales pitch. This either makes sense or it doesn't. But for those of you that I've already seen a ton of you that have already posted, already signed up, can't wait, see you next week. I'm telling you right now, this class will equip you and give you everything that you need to not only prospect, not only take more listings, but to also change your mindset around prospecting. The number one thing that real estate agents deal with that hinder them or hold them back and keep them from selling more homes is fear of rejection and limiting beliefs. One of the very first classes that we tackle right off the bat is our mindset. Because I could give you all the tools, all the resources, all the tools, the strategies, the techniques, but if our mindset isn't right, we're not going to be able to convert. I'm going to go very deep on helping you overcome your fears, overcome your limiting beliefs, and overcoming your excuses so that you can learn how to set more appointments and take more listings. Number two, I'm going to give you everything that Jeff gave me. 12 years ago, I joined Jeff's team. He said, Justin, if you'll trust me and you'll follow the plan that I teach, you're going to be super successful and you're going to take a lot of listings. My first month as an outside sales agent, 30 listings taken. My second month as an outside sales agent, 32 listings. I took 10 pendings my third month in the business. I took 100 listings my first 6 months in the business. And like Jeff said, sold around 100 homes my first year in the business. And it's not because I had a big sphere of influence. It's not because a lot of people knew me and referred me the business. It was because I followed the things that Jeff taught me, and the things that I'm going to teach you in this class is exactly not only what I did, but what I do every day. You're going to learn the 4 different personality styles. This class alone will teach you how to convert at a higher level, even if you don't do anything else, because there are 4 types of people. You're going to learn the top 25 sources of business that Jeff and his team use to sell 1,000 homes a year. That class alone, Jeff, I think is worth it. 25 sources of business. Yeah. I'm going to give you every single source of business that Jeff and his team use and that I use every single day to take more listings. How about going even more in depth and getting database plans and templates that you can use for your clients, okay? Hybrid farming plan. We're going to give you the exact ideas and things. Today we scratched the surface. We're going to give you everything in depth. We're going to have scripts. We're going to have dialogues. How would you like to see me prospect live? I do live prospecting sessions in the group. You're going to have homework because you're going to be held accountable. We're going to talk about what your goals are, what your struggles are, and how to succeed at a high level. We're going to teach you door knocking. We're going to teach you all the different ways that you can overcome objections, learning every objection and how to overcome it. And we're also going to teach you how to use social media as an extension to your database to be able to convert more people through social media. If you're serious about taking more listings and selling more homes through the end of this year and beyond, I highly encourage you to sign up for the Prospecting Bootcamp. It's a $399 investment per month over 4 months, which is a total of $1,600, which, Chef, I'll be honest, I still can't believe this class is that low, because here's my thought. How many listings would you need to take and sell to recoup $1,600? Like a fraction of a listing. I'll use Andrew Pepper as an example. I always love using Andrew. Andrew Pepper out of Sarasota, Florida, never prospected before he took the boot camp. Over the 16-week class, he took 18 listings, over $150,000 of GCI just by following what I teach.
And he was not a prospector beforehand.
Not at all. If you sign up for the class, you do what I teach, here's my guarantee to you. You will not only recoup your investment, but your business will go to the next level, your income will go to the next level, and your life will go to the next level. And I would be honored to have you in the class, and I'm going to give you everything I got and help you win at the highest level.
Yeah, so there you go. There you heard it here from Justin. For more information, text the word prospecting to 55444, or you may email us. Simply email us at info@gloveru.com. For those of you in Canada, sometimes the texting system doesn't work. So text the word prospecting to 55444 if you want to join Justin live. These are 1-hour sessions, 45 minutes of instructions, 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A. It comes with a private Facebook group for only prospecting bootcamp attendees, where people are going back and forth finding role play partners. That's where Justin's doing his live prospecting in there. He's handling objections for you. So when you get one-off objections, he'll respond. Anyways, it's a great opportunity for anyone that wants to sharpen their lead generation skill, because in my opinion, it is the most important in this business. So take advantage of what Justin offers. Join him in his prospecting boot camp. It's Mondays. It's Mondays at what, 2 Eastern?
Yep, 2 p.m. Eastern on Mondays, 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. And I will say one more thing for our Canadian friends that are here. Although you can't pick up the phone and call expireds and FSBOs, we're going to teach you all the other ways that you can go out and generate seller opportunities as well.
Good. That's great, because I know we have a lot of Canadian followers and a lot of Canadian attendees at our bigger events. So There you have it. We've got another great summer webinar taking place tomorrow. Go to gloveru.com/webinar to get signed up for that. Justin, your program starts next week. So I got to imagine a lot of these people are going to be seeing you next week at Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern time.
I'm ready to rock.
All right. See you guys. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, guys.